We are back for the evening's session. This is a 27 player, but there's a 9 player on the way as well. See how it goes. Just glad to take a first earlier. Feels nice to win one. We'll see how this evening goes. I'm anxious to win and move up to the $5 tables, but it's going to take me a little time. There's some natural variance up and down to my play, including plugging holes in my boat, improving my game slowly. Comes the 9 player. See if I can get this set up. Looks like we got it right. Had some food, took a walk. It's plenty cold outside. I took a brief walk. I did not want to stay outside long. It was cold. I am inside and I have oolong. Fujian Orchard from Adagio. I'm going to do some more tastings here soon. I have to set up the cameras to do it as I have been. It's a little time consuming. When I do set it up, I'm probably going to review a coffee, review a liquor, review some tea in quick order. For tequila, there's Mi Agave, which is a series of bottles I purchased a while back that I want to finish off and talk about. Loaded with additives. I have gotten an affinity and taste for tequila, and additives in tequila suck. They are selling you substandard tequila, and I do not know why, other than the profit margin. You can't tell the difference when you first start, but the more you drink, the more of a sense you get. I'm becoming a snob slowly. But I need to set up, review the tea, review some liquor. I mean, what to do here? This is a bit more complicated. They've checked around to me, and I'll bet half the pot. It's very likely that somebody has an ace. Looked like they both let it go. They did. Um, the ace over here was kind of a fluke call. I don't have anything, but they're not betting either. Let's see if they put some out here. I mean, they say they've got it. I don't have anything to defend. I thought it was a strange bet. It was very large for what was going on at the table. But also on a new tables, I'm a little more wary at the beginning. There's a lot of just very loose or poor players who are tossing chips around. I tend to be a little more conservative in the beginning, and then I pick up steam as the blinds go up. It's more profitable to steal at that point. I don't consider that much of a bet, but could easily have a king. What's the harm? And somebody's trying to draw to the flush. I'll flat this. Just nothing. I mean, unless they have the king or that flush draw. Could have queen jack. I'm gonna flat this. Yeah. Bet was small enough. Didn't like it, but a lot of players will say that Jack Jack is hard to play. And I think much of that depends on the situation. Um, you know, with the king on board, was I going to try to bet them off it? How much would I have had to bet to get ace three of hearts to fold? Let's say at the turn. In fact, let me look at the hand again. I bet they flat call. King 10 2. Somebody bets 20. I flat because I'm afraid they got a king. The ace 3 calls. Now there's two hearts. We both check. They bet 60. Everything about that bet size says draw. We all call. And then they get their 9. They bet 100 chips on a pot that was 430. Could have easily had a king. Easily had ace 3, which is what they had. But I've seen stranger things at these tables. There was a hand one night, like I think I made a standard bet, and somebody jammed in a late position, and I called. It had 2-5 suited, 2-5 of clubs. I'm like, why did you jam all in on that? I don't understand. What's going on? This will be interesting. It's a nice turn for me. This is about to potentially get very ugly for them. Let's see how they respond. Well, that sucks. It is not the river card I wanted. But we still took it. And I didn't have to fight him at the river. That would have been a hard bet. I probably would have called, but that's a rough situation. That's part of the challenge with weak aces is trying to figure out if you're ahead. These ace X, ace nine offsuit, this sort of stuff is common for people to play, but it makes after the flop play much more challenging if your ace hits. They have a whole lot of nothing. They had a pair of sixes, by the way. I will say in the past month or so, my post flop play has improved. I have a better sense of putting a guy on a range. I'm still confused by some things that if a player plays a hand in a way that I won't, it's sometimes hard for me to see it and imagine they played nines like that. Decided to vary bet size a bit. The ace queen is more to shake off weak aces. Ace jack, ace 10. Not that it will always work, but he's also got to call a larger pre-flop bet to be able to see a flop. He could have AK of another suit. My concern with ace queen is isolation. There's a lot of stuff that could fall that would really screw that hand up. Also, there are times where, I hate to say this, but how am I feeling about the hand? I don't know if that makes complete sense, but there are times at a table where I will fold because uh, part of me wants to call this. I'm gonna let it go. Part of me wanted to call that because I'm like, if he doesn't have the king, like, I mean, what's he got that could be ahead? Sometimes I fold just because I'm tired and I don't want to play after the flop. I don't feel like going through the time and mental bandwidth of trying to figure out whether the guy's ahead or not. We had this, even though it's a rainbow board, do we want to go all in to try to draw out? And we'd have done it and cracked a pair of aces, but it's only 1 in 5. I've seen people at a final table. There's a shove, and some guy calls with a pair of fours. And I'm like, ooh, man. And sure as hell, he catches a third four. That's a rough situation. I'm not sure how I feel about that statistically. It also depends on stack sizes with the other players. There are situations where I think if you were big stack and you can afford it, it could be worth it. It takes a small enough piece of your stack size that it doesn't matter if you lose, but if you win big. It's like a couple of hands, like I had an ace jack, I think, against a couple guys, and they had various other holdings, and I cracked them and took a big pot. The more I win, the less I'm afraid of losing a buck or losing $2. It's not as big a deal, so you are less risk averse, generally speaking. That was a nice flop. You might be ahead. There are many times when you get to bet with the confidence that you have the best hand. The being completely assured. They jam this, I'm gonna call. Um, what's half the pot? There we go. Could still draw an ace. I'm not sure what they've got. But my ace, unfortunately, for better or worse, I'm not letting this go. And I'm wondering if they're going to call. Let's do it. Let's play that back again so I can take a look at it. I mean, they did get a chance to double up because of it. I limped, they bet, I called. They finally jammed. I'm just going to flat this. Okay, this is more complex. Let me see here. I'm gonna min bet here. The other table, and let that go. The 3 is nice. I'm pretty sure I got this. I'm gonna bet, see how they respond. Yeah, that was a lucky river. And then here, pair of kings. Bet that. Needs a double up. This, we'll let go. And then, yeah, just ace and a 7. They hadn't connected with anything on the board. I feel better about my bet. I mean, I think it was a reasonable risk. They also just didn't have anything. Didn't have anything that didn't have anything. And they had a higher kicker. Let's check that again. Jack and a 5 would have been nice. No, that's not the wrong table. Here we go. Now let's see here. Don't even know if I can pull it up. Anyway, we lost one. We got a double up. They had a higher kicker than I did. We both had an air on the board. And see, something like this, if I hit a 10, the problem with Doyle's hand here is this kicker, unless that 2 hits in some form, and 10 is a drawing hand for a lot of people, and the 9 and 7 connect. Jack and an 8, things like that. There's also 2 flush draws now. And the 6 also connects. We got over here. Oh, the 10 pulled out over there. And I think somebody had Jack 8. If I would have been involved, I would have jammed that for sure. Ace Queen might have called because they want a gut shot, but it's not bad for me. Don't know that he would have checked something like King Jack. Um, yeah, I'll just check this down. Yeah, he just had a higher 8. Not so concerned about that. Wasn't willing to bet with the King and the Jack on board like I had it. In the big blind, not too excited. Not to a bet, even standard. Even worse that the small blind called. This is interesting. Don't have a lot. I'm just gonna check this and hopefully draw cheap. Uh, I don't really want to get involved in heavy altercations with this, so I'll certainly call for 100. If the jack came at the turn, that would give me some additional outs. If it was suited, it would give me a flush, but I don't know if it would be the nuts. The 10 is okay. That's kind of a scare card, so I'm going to bet 100 back into him and see how he responds. The problem is I didn't hit my flush, and the 10 is not that high. They could still be holding a jack. Let's see if I took that. I think I did. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Not super interested. I go from cold to sweating because of that tea. It warms me up, man. Take the sweater off. Uh, lose the small pots, win the big ones. If it's marginal, I try not to get involved in heavy altercations with tons of chips. I just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm pretty short over here from that dive we took earlier. Uh, let's check this out. I don't really have any draws. I don't feel attached to this hand. I just didn't hit anything. I'm also concerned that 565 would go betting in on something. Completely willing to min bet on that. So let me see if I can see a cheap flop here and here. We'll go ahead and min bet and see how they respond. They didn't do anything to the flop. That's a pretty nice flop for my hand. I think I'm just going to put that in. They call with something better than they call, but I'm pretty short. That's a nice flop for me. I'm going to check or fold. 6-9 is weird. If it's suited, I mean, you could catch 7, 8, 10, something like that at the flop. Uh, when they talk about suited connectors, I wonder sometimes if they mean like can 7, 9, or does it have to be like right next to each other? I don't even know how they define it. I'm just gonna check this. I have nothing, sir. If you would like to bet, I will check. And if you bet, I will flat call. And I will check. And we chop because you had a 5. Not interested here. If it folds around to me, I'm likely going to jam this. Yeah. Looking nice there. Aces. This is too weak. I like the kicker. This is a bit better. '27 player, I'm in 4th place out of 21, but we don't even get to the money until place 10. I'm doing okay for now. Yeah, the table looks like somebody about to bust out. Did not hit his flush. But I'm still alive, sir. Not super excited about my 5 kicker, but if you want to limp in, I will allow myself to draw 2 5s and beat you to a pulp. Not the flop I wanted. I think somebody has the fucking frush. Just a guess. No. Enjoy your chips, good sir. You're a scholar and a gentleman. 7 and 2. I'll let that go. Again, fold, fold, run, run, fold, run away, run away. Wasn't sure what was going on here. I just, the board, it was like confusing to me. Just didn't seem to connect to much. I need to double up. I am in bad shape over here. Let me get the water started for the tea again. And let's see. Whole lot of nothing. Even more. Oh, I had a 3. Oh, good battle. We got to double up ASAP. It's only once in recent memory where the flop fell like Jack 10-10 and I had Jack 10. So nice when it happens. The queen is nice. My kicker is not strong enough. I'd almost prefer some limpers so I could hook something. But any pre-flop bet, I'm going to fold. Just not strong enough. This is also horrible. The Spanish version, horrible. It's not worth the call. Could save your aggression. Yeah, just fold flat out. If this folds around, somebody's sitting out. Somebody could try to steal here, like them. If they bet on this, yeah, I'm gonna jam all in. And they could have a weak ace or something, but they're also trying to take since the other guy's sitting out to my left. Can really screw up table dynamics if that process continues. Let's see here. I'm gonna fold. The guy's back, by the way. And this, not super happy. The limp was okay, but I'm real nervous about this button bet here. I'm gonna fold that. I would have liked to have seen a flop with it, but it is a warning to number 22 to get out of the way. But only a mild warning. Doesn't put is it a bluff? Is it semi-bluff? Does he have it? Does he not? Does anybody know? No, we don't know because everybody's lying. Oh, sure, and that's when you give me 2 sevens. Always. It's always the time. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, poker gods. Thanks for rubbing my face in that one. All right. And he did draw out. Although I wish I would have called at this page. Now that I know what it was. That old hindsight, right? This is strong enough to just jam. If I get a call, I get a call. I don't think there's any other way to play that. The other table, I'll flat this. I don't like it, but I'll flat. And they did let the blinds go to me. Small bet back, and I mean, this is pretty solid. I'm gonna flat here. Did hit my ace. My concern is I limp. He calls back. You know, does he have it? Yes. And did I lose? Yes. Now, am I gonna believe every time they do that? And it sucks to bust out, but I don't frankly believe that half the time. When they raise at me. And I went out in 18th. I completely busted out because of that. The problem is if you fold every time, I think you wind up in a position where you're going to lose a lot of chips if you think that these players won't, do that. I tend to give a little bit more weight to re-raises, and he had a big stack, but the big stack almost factors in and makes me believe him less. And what happens when I catch a 7? And we can even run the stats on that in a second. Let me check here what I've got. Maybe another 9 player. Pull that up. Because I think it's a failure to believe them all the time. So I think he had ace queen suited, but I'll put it in suited anyway, even if it wasn't. Let's see here. Yeah. Other table here. And then I had ace 7, I think, offsuit. So yeah, 72% of the time he's gonna take it. I mean, he's way ahead, but do I always think that they've got it? do I always believe them when they bet that way? And the answer is no. Um, I think this is good enough. Somebody may have an ace. Sucks to bust out that way, but again, I just don't believe everything the players do at the table. I just think that's a super bad idea to think that they've always got it. Also, if you take a look at his bet size, it was a little bit less than I think 3 times the big blind. When the flop falls and I've got an ace, what am I gonna do? He jams. And when I called, I knew that he likely had it, but again, what situations do I just bow out when you have the degree of anonymity that you have here online? If this folds to me, I'm gonna jam. Maybe you won't call with a pair of sixes next time. Thank you for your donation to the cause. I mean, you did have sixes, you know. Now flat here. It's not too bad for my hand. Now that's a bit more rough. So I don't have a flush draw. I'm worried about the 10 more than anything else. I think I'm going to conserve. I don't think that's a good way to go. The 10 is more concerning to me. Tons of draws. There's a flush draw. Like just tons of draws. In fact, I think I'm ready to go out on this if I had to. The 3 is like a 1 in 10, but my bet makes it look like I've got an ace, and I could easily have ace 2 or ace 4. That's completely within my range. Not as crazy about the big bet. I think he's concerned about me being more aggressive. That is a perfect spot though if I had queens or higher to not jam all in, but to just re-raise. Where he goes, whoa, wait, what? Like, but I made a big bet. Busting out of that 27 player sucked, but well, I'm sure it is not the last time I will bust out of a tournament. Get the other table set up here in a second. See if I'm about to sneeze. I saved you. You're welcome. Whew. You go in here. See what pulls up. And I think this is it. No, wrong one. Here. Yes. And let me readjust my window. Not excited about this. The 9-player tournaments are a little bit easier to win. I think the 27-player, there's slightly better players at those tables. That has the potential to put a couple of the players in. That's plenty strong enough. It's a rainbow board, so I'm just going to bet half and see. That strengthened my hand. I think I'll just bet again. Let's see if he jams in over if he's got ace 3 or something. His ace 3 would have held up at the river. The other table, I have 7-2 suited, which I will check down. I will immediately fold and keep it on here because I don't know what the hell. Okay. Ace jack over ace 10 makes sense. But the chop, nope. I had a 7 and a 2. Like I said, I just checked this down and I like it. The 7, if I bet here, to me looks kind of obvious. Man, my kicker is so small. I mean, if he had a queen or 10, he would have bet. I think I'm going to call this. I don't think he has a queen. But how much does he... Okay, he just checks it. And yeah, I just had the 7. That was what I assumed. Let me get back to my game over here because I'm being slow. Paying attention to this table. I'll flat that if they'll let me in cheap. Not interested in a 6 and a 3. This 2 times the big blind doesn't mean anything in the poker world to me. This I will fold. 100 does. I'll get out of your way. You guys want to battle that out? I don't love this, but this is a drawing hand. Let me see how he responds to that. Queen and a 9. He jammed all in, which means I have a 1 in 5 chance of drawing a card. And we're going to take it because I'm tired of his shit. Thank you. Thank you for the donation to the cause, sir. Fold. And in fact, I would like to review that hand in a minute because that was funky. And I don't like doing it all the time, but in that situation, I felt it warranted. Let's see here. So jack and a 9. He bets 2 times the big blind. See, this is what started the shit. I got an open and a straight draw. He jams. I call. He's got ace queen. He's hoping for a flush. He hit his queen, but oh yeah, that gave me my straight. So that's what screwed you up, sir. I'm gonna bet here. Other table, I let go a jack 5 suited. And I mean, his jam, he's telling me that he's ahead, and he could have easily drawn a card that would have given it to him, but I have a decision. Again, think about it. I can bust out and lose a buck, or If I win this hand, look at my stack size now. There's a lot more mobility, and that guy number 8 is about to bust out. He's about to bubble. He bet 2 times the big blind. If he had made a standard bet for 200 more chips, me being who I am, I might have just let that go. But I go, sure, just 2 times the big blind. So fuck, let's see it. Do you call? Because I shall. Good game. I'll flat this, and we will see over here. Nah. So Jack 4, this sort of stuff, unless the Jack is like a connected Jack 8, Jack 9, Queen Jack, something like that, I find that to be somewhat suspicious and much more difficult to play. The other table, they let the kings go. I limp, he bets. I'm gonna fold here. I'm assuming he's got something, or at least he has a much bigger bet than me. And 4 and a 5. Let's begin this process and see if he'll let me limp on one. Don't like that. And this is the response. Now, how does this look? Now, I mean, I could call, but I'm not exactly in the same situation I was before. And this guy's like, fuck you. Okay, I mean, you know, you could have aces and whatever, but notice he will not flash. Correct. He had a good and well-timed bet. He's also hoping to corner the 700 chip stack because he's trying to beat him out. And he had a straight. Ooh, a higher straight. Ouch. Oof. Oofda. Oofda. No, I mean, the 3 just isn't strong enough. He's probably tilted from losing that hand to the other guy. I don't want to. He's likely to jam or bet heavy with a wide range of hands. And again, it's like I want to be big stack and lean on him, but I just don't think that's an appropriate hand to do it. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. If I limp in, is he going to jam again? He's not in the big blind on this one, so I will limp on this one and see if they'll let me in. I try to lull them into passivity if at all possible. I have nothing over here, nothing connected. I'll flat here. It didn't connect enough to be able to like help me draw a straight or anything. Also not completely interested. This hand could be more challenging. That I don't particularly like. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to check this. I was going to bet at him. I think this is better. I was a little concerned about betting and then having him jam all in. Once I hit that, I felt more comfortable. Now, if we're all involved, this may be a little bit better, and that looks okay for me. Concerned about the flush draw, but let's see. Uh-oh. And that guy gets involved. Let's check this and see how he responds. And I'll just check here. If he has a jack or an ace, he's going to bet. And he doesn't. He checked it down. There we go. Again, I was a little more concerned. I just didn't want to draw some massive aggression. I am going to bet here, hoping that the small blind gets out of the way and then the big blind jams. Ooh, just flat call. Interesting. I've got some good draws here and a potential flush. That is a good card for my hand. Even if he hit his spade flush, I'm just not gonna, yeah. That was an excellent, excellent play. Excellent move on my hand. I couldn't have asked, I don't think, for a better board than that. King 9 offsuit, it's like, 5 times the big blind just isn't enough for me to call that. Here, I'm going to flat, just limp in, see if they'll let me see a cheap flop. Again, these weak jacks like this, I would rather lull him into passivity, wait till I have a better hand. Even if I had Jack 10, I might bet that. Now, we got that same thing, but we have 2 callers this time. I'm going to flat here. It just did not connect with my flop. Did not connect with my hand at all. I'm probably way behind on this. For 2 people who bet 100 chips on that, I think, it's time for me to get out of the way. Yeah, they're both betting at it. I'm going to fold. The 4 might not have helped me. 3 and a 7 is not what I was hoping for. But I will check it. And I will bet to you, hoping to also draw another 7 or 3. That did not do much. Let's see, there's a 4. We'll fold that. Go here. I will check this. And do you have a straight? No, you do not. I will limp in here, see if he'll let me see a flop. He did allow me in. He could have easily lied right there. And if I can keep them cornered, I could probably take a first on this one. This one I definitely will bet. I feel comfortable doing that. I'm not sure what's going on here. I will bet half the pot. On a flush draw with hearts, he will jam it. The weak jack, I almost want to call because it's such a small section of my chip size. But I think it's a better move with number 1 having such a small amount to wait till a better holding or number 1 there busts out. I don't like giving the stacks more chips because it gives them more, they can take a bigger dent out of me. I'm going to bet that. This table, not quite sure. I'm going to fold there unless they check it down to me. They're very weakened at this point. The 2 and a 4, I let that go. The 10 on its own, if they had jammed the 380, I might have called just on the strength of the 10, just a value bet. I'm going to flat here and see if the big blind just... There we go. I'm not super excited about just my 4. If I hit an 8 or another 4, I'm just going to check this down. And he took it. Just didn't have anything. We were trying to eliminate that other player politely, as you do in poker. If you're ever at a table, by the way, in person, don't like talk about it. Hey man, just call so we can meet this guy. Like, don't do that. This is all gentlemanly stuff where everybody knows what's going on, but nobody says it. Yeah. Let's see here what happened. Look like he got wiped out, and we are heads up. I mean, at least suited. Let's see what happens here. I don't, not for 2K. I feel like that's a bit much. I'm gonna fold here. Let's go back, see what I've got. And let's limp in, see how he responds. It was an insta check there. Let me bet it out and see what he does. I was happy he let it go at garbage. Complete garbage. Garbage, the French version. Also garbage, just nothing to fight back with. Just absolutely nothing. Fold over here. Go back. I respect your bet, sir. And I don't want to be too passive. I've only got to beat him, once, like something like this. I mean, if he jams, I'm calling. Yeah, he could beat me, but it's all in. And nice. That was good. That was good. After losing at the $2 table, that was a nice change. Nice change up. And those small wins, I mean, it's $4.50, but you're putting in like $1.10. You're quadrupling your buy-in. It's really nice to be in a situation where you can play and win. I'm feeling much better about some of my jams. The $2 tournament, I still talk about that. Was it Ace 8 I had? Those situations, I do encounter those and make what I think are errors sometimes. But as long as I'm winning more than I'm losing, the $2 doesn't matter. We just earn back that $2 from that 9-player tournament. The 410 on the big blind. Okay, I'm in position. I don't like calling with ace 10 offsuit, but I'm going to be a little more cautious. The number 5 also has twice my stack. Now, that was pretty much insta check from those two. The button let it go. There we go. Now, here's another thing. If number 5 had waited, I get more nervous. If they insta, it's like they've already clicked the button, so it's like going very rapidly. If they sit there and wait, you're like, oh no, they're thinking about it. That king jack to ace 8 or whatever that weak ace was I had at the end, that's a very common, it's like he's short. Is he going to call with that? Sure, he's going to call with that. And he absolutely beat me. He just got to catch a card. I just happened to get lucky. Bided my time. My game slowly gets better. I've got less fear in certain situations. There are certain hands and certain positions and situations that are a bit more confusing to me, but it's also because the other players play in a way that sometimes doesn't match mine, and it's harder for me to see what they're doing and why. But a win, first place, felt nice. The pivotal hand of that whole tournament was the open-ended straight draw from that guy's ace queen. Could easily bust out. It's a thing. If even if we had just done like standard betting, I think I would probably have been more confused. But when you jam all in, what is his jam telling me? Is I'm trying to prevent you drawing on this hand. And it's like you gave me a reason to draw because you bet 2 times the big blind. If he had made a standard bet, I likely would have let that go from the beginning. But once the flop hits and I've got it, I'm like, okay, I have 1 and 5 at the turn and 1 and 5 at the river. Threes. Ouch. I was going to play that for a second, but I think not. Let that go. Hitting bottom pair and going multi rounds after the flop with it. I mean, unless I hit another 4, what am I hoping for? If the turn had been a jack, okay, well, I've got a straight draw potential if a queen fell, but my 4 just doesn't. Yeah. Bottom pair. I remember Doyle Brunson, I think in Super System, talking about him losing more from bottom 2 pair than any hand in poker. So king 9 4, and he hits a 9 and a 4 at the flop, and then loses because on a turn or river the guy draws like another king or a higher 2 pair or something. Yeah, I remember that, Mr. Brunson. I would like a king and 2 9s at the flop, please. And I will check forever. That is not bad for my hand. I will bet back into him, and he folds immediately, which is better than me having to fucking argue with some ace. Doing a lot of thinking about classes and structure, what I'm doing with education, and I'm in a weird spot because I'm trying to push more of my education online, but there is a point where I'm going to have to raise in-person class fees, not just group classes where I go and teach a group of students, but private training with students as well. And I'm a little, it's not that I don't think it's worth it. I'm a little apprehensive. And I think also it's because of COVID. COVID has hurt the massage industry because it's a hands-on discipline. Um, so much of my stuff is online, but COVID has hurt the business. We're not really growing the way I want, even though there is growth. Um, there's a lot of factors. I'm going to kind of sit on that and try to figure out how I want to price things and how I want to put it together. Oofta. My 2-3 offsuit. No matter my positional advantage, I'm letting it go. Mm, bunch of nothing. Not interested. Hmm, why not? Let's gamble. Let's do it. Get out of my way. You fear me? I'm playing poker. I'm here on Bovada, taking you down. Got an ace and a 2. I want 3, 4, 5 of spades, please. Nice. I will flat this. Remain calm. Remain calm. Now, I just told him I had it. Nice. You have aces? Awesome. Now, he told me he had it. He told me he had a better hand than ace two. And then after the flop, I told him, your ace king isn't going to hold up now, bro, unless you get lucky. Now, situational awareness. What fell at the flop? Okay, because once a flop falls, like what we had pre-flop doesn't hold up the same way. He charged me to see it. Now, the other side of it, does he want to jam all in? Because in the other tournament where I busted out, I limped. Is that right? Did I limp or did I bet? I think I bet and the guy re-raised, by the way. Anyway, that does make a difference. My king and an 8 might have been good. But that's what I was saying too about trash hands making me more chips. Why at AK? Well, but when my ace 2 hits to your AK, it's real hard for you to let go, and I took a huge pot. When it hits. And regularly I will just lose, but once I hit 2 pair with an ace at the flop, I'm not letting go. Though sometimes he'll draw out. He'll catch another king, and then I lose. But am I willing to take that risk when there's only 2 cards left? And I also didn't jam. I just bet. I think he jammed into me after. Didn't even have enough chips to take it all, which is why it's short stacked now. I am watching Yellowstone, and I just finished the 3rd season. And I'm in telenovela land. This is some, like, this is some violent ass shit. Like, there's a lot of people dying and a lot of physical violence that's worse than any gangland film. Like, this is bad. Kevin Costner does a great job as the lead role, but man, it's violent. Uh, Man, see, part of me wants to call this. It's a standard bet. I'm out of position. I think I'm gonna wait off here. My concern, if I had been on the button with Ace 10, is different. Out of position, I'd be the first to go after the flop. If I was in a different mood, I might have wanted to do that and might have been felt comfortable with it. Like this situation, I limp from the button with Queen 9, but I'm the last to go. And let's see what they do. The 7 could be problematic. Could somebody have Ace 7? Yes. I'm going to bet half the pot. And how I respond after this depends on them. The Ace 10 is weak. It was offsuit, and I was in a small blind. I was technically in the worst spot on the board. This is another situation with a big stack. I don't want to call a bet with this. I was hoping to just limp in, see a cheap flop like that ace two. Feel sorry for number seven there. Sucks because he's got to lose his big blind or jam in. Community pot. Oh, the ace is held up. That was a way to clean the table. It's nice when your aces hold. I wondered what was going on. One more to the money. We'll see if number one busts out. He's the smallest. If there's anything I hate more than queen four, it's jack four. If people limp, and this is my problem, see, that's not even a full three times the big blind bet. What am I hoping will hit here? And I mean, I could call, but I just saw them play aces well, take down a full house. Do I want to start being aggressive back at the top stack, which is double mine? And if he starts leading with this sort of aggression, it's almost more beneficial for him to take somebody out because he has such a big stack he can afford to lose. And lots of altercations like this. This is a strong bet from number one, by the way. Yeah. That bet, instead of just the all in, said, I've got it, but if you want to call with the lesser hand, go ahead. Limp here if they'll let me see something cheap. They go crazy. Probably gonna let it go. Yeah, I mean, that to me doesn't really tell me much. I'd feel better just flatting that. And then what does he do here? Because he did bet. I limped, he bet. He's in the small blind. He bets a little bit more than half the pot. I've hit an 8. I don't feel like with bottom pair, I want to keep trying to draw. Like hoping I hit an ace to the second pair. This is problematic in a lot of ways, but if he's got his ace, I just cracked it. And I've got the nuts, sir. And I'm not going to give you any information. I will allow you to bet to your death. If you do not know that I got it, you are wrong and not fit for this table. Could not have asked for a better situation with that flush. Just that he had something a little bit stronger and would have kept going. I want to be aggressive, but I'm still concerned. The stack to my left and right have enough to put a significant dent. Number two can take me out. I'd almost prefer they absorb one of the other so I can get to the money and then we can start being a little bit more aggressive. Also, how confident do I feel about 10-8 offsuit? And if I limped in, now what? Okay, fold. Could have any pair for a full house. Could have a four. Um, I'm gonna bet here. I feel a little uncomfortable with this, but I think King 10 is strong enough to at least make a solid bet at four-handed. I get a little nervous about King Jack or higher calling, which certainly they would. Now I feel sort of exposed, but we'll bet again and see what happens. Now, if he had any pair, would he play that way? Now, I'd have to call for almost the rest of my stack to be able to keep going. And I don't have, it's a rainbow board. There's no flush draws. I don't feel like trying to draw to a king to potentially beat him. I don't know what he had, but that's the challenge I have with King 10 and like trying to play it aggressively. Like if it doesn't hit, then I also don't have ace high. It sucks, but to a three times my bet, it's almost like saying, I don't know if you hit, but I think my hand isn't as bad as yours. And see this shit. It was min bet, like, huge bet on me. I hate being not short stacked, but having a stack as small as I do at the time. I don't like this, but I think this is a better play from a limp from him than just checking it down. There's too many hands he could potentially have and bet after the flop, which would negate that situation. And we've only got to double up once to really get back into, real positive situation. Number two has a big enough stack where he can lean on the other guys, including me. I'm gonna bet here. If I had an 8 or a 5 at the river, that would be a bit better. I'm gonna flat this. Not super happy with the queen. He's probably gonna, yeah, bet that out. Just got a lucky river card. I'm gonna jam this and I'm gonna risk going out. If I'm gonna play it, that's how it's going to be played, four-handed. We're getting beaten up by the big stack. That king 10 sucked, but I don't have any defense for that except jamming all in. Like when I had the 5 and the 8 at the turn, if I'd have jammed, would he have called that? Probably. Don't like that automatic call. I would like to see another 9 or a 10. That is not what I get, so I will check. I will check again. Any king or 7. That was nice. I'm glad I took something down. I don't know what he was betting with. Not super excited about queen jack, but let's see what happens here. If he bets back at me, I'll let it go. His stack is too big for me to deal with a major altercation. He's probably full of shit, but he's got enough chips to back it up. Waiting for number 4 to go out. If he limps, these are the kinds of hands I like to see a flop with. My ace and a 2 from earlier would have fared better on that board. Just a whole lot of nothing. The difference also might be if I caught a pair of aces based on how they're playing right now. As limping in can be really profitable. Excuse me. That is an ugly board. No flushes made it. That 7 connects to the 6 and the 8. Man, that's problematic. If you had the aces, you probably would have been betting more confidently the whole way through. Ooh, okay. Do not like. Let's see what happens here. Nah, let that go. That made my decision easier. Full house. And we made the money. That was a rough spot. Let's see what happens. If 2 bets, it depends on his bet size. Fuck that, all in. It depends on what he bet. Please don't give him a queen. Thank you. His bet sizing. I was praying that he would come up with something. I'll bet that. And I mean, what do you do? 3-handed? Come on. I mean, that's just how it is. It was if he bet, you know, what I want to jam all in or re-raise. I think it turned out to my favor. It just worked out that I had a hand, he had a hand. A little bit more than 2 times or 3 times the big blind. Now I've got a little more room to sit and be patient, see what we can come up with. Cracking his queens was nice. Part of me wants to call because of the amount put in. The challenge, if I would have hit with that, when I say hit, meaning let's say I'm in with 10-6, am I going to draw a 7? And then now there's a flush draw on the table. They could have a 7 that also connected them to a straight draw. Oof. All right, well, we are heads up, and that was fucking ugly. And let's do it. We can play slow, or we can play like we're prepared to die. And what was that hand? That was 6-10, 8-9. Jam, call, ace and an 8, queen and a jack. Interesting. Huh. That is not what I thought was going on there by far. Let's limp in and see how he responds. It's not too bad. Min bet. Jack and a 9 is kind of ugly. People do limp with cards like that. A lot of connected stuff. 10-8. I mean, my kicker was stronger, maybe. Maybe even suited. Not too bad. Keep the pot size small. Yeah, my hand improved a little bit. If he jams, I'll call. It's important to remember we're going to make at least 270, so we're in the money. Top 2, this is practice playing heads up. I'll in position flat this. That's a good flop for my hand. He could have like Jack 10. I'm just gonna jam here. He could have a higher queen. He could have king queen, something like that. And I felt that was worth it on the button at least. Queen Jack is more challenging to play. It potentially blocks a lot of straights, but unless it hits just right, I think it's hard to play well. I'm not super excited about my kicker. I'm also trying to mix it up, you know, a little limp, a little bet here. I'll call again in position. Could hit a 4, and how does he bet this? Because his bet, okay, I'm gonna flat this. Not super happy with the 6. If he had a pair, like a pair of 8s or a pair of 9s, he'd just have 2 pair right now. I like the check because I can get a free card. The 3s, not super happy. Let's check here. Yeah, king, queen. Just didn't connect, but I didn't know if I want to put more in on it. Another situation, if I hit a 3 and let's say he had ace something, I think this is worth a call. With that board, could he already have ace 3? Could I draw to a 10 at the river? It's rainbow, there's no flush draws. I will flat that again. I have a complete friggin' air ball that I will check as well. Wow. Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on with this table. I will fold, as we have mentioned my love of Jack 4 offsuit. We kind of have him in a bit of a corner stack-wise. I think that's plenty strong enough. No 10, no 8. Oh, you did it to me. And we're back at it again. And I would not play that ace 5 any differently. I think that's, in that situation with his stack size, that's completely reasonable. Don't have to do too much. If I could take just a pot or two from him, he's going to be severely weakened. We could also see a complete change in fortune here. He could hit who knows what. If he's going to be passive and fold. He made a couple bets, which I confidently called, which I think is good. Bodes well for my play improving a little bit. Not super excited, but let's see. He checks here. I'll check as well. He could have an ace. Depends on what he bets here, or if he does at all. I'll check it down. The problem is he could have like, you know, a pair of 4s, just something that connected. I don't have anything on that. As much as I was involved, I don't think that's a good way for me to waste any chips anymore on that particular hand. Made a small move at the pot there. Also, if he's going to jam like that from a limp, it means if I pick up aces or kings, I might, you know, limp on him. I'd like to, I prefer betting, but how many times have we bet 3 times the big blind since we started playing heads up? he folds here, I'm going to giggle at myself. His 4, he knew it was good. He knew it was good. He had the confidence. I hate when I've got something so weak and something so big hits the board, because if he's got any of that, he's going to call. Is he afraid that I have a jack? He probably does not have the jack, but what does he have? Because, I mean, I hit nothing, and I've got such a weak hand. There we go. If he had bet that, I probably would flat call. That's a drawing hand to me. Something to play with after the flop. I think that's enough for a bet. And I haven't been betting 3 times the big blind on a lot of stuff, so maybe he's a little more concerned. I connected. If he limps in, this is a draw. That's a sizable bet. I mean, it's not quite 3 times the big blind, but it's close. I'm not even suited. His stack size is not, fuck it, let's call. Let's gamble. Now, let's bet half the pot at him and see how he responds and see if I can draw my 7 cheaply. Okay, so here's the challenge. He could be ahead, and I'm gonna bet, but I'm gonna bet a small amount. I have an open-ended straight draw. Any queen, any 7. This is it. If he's fucking got it, he's got it. No, he took it. Well, we made 270. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out. See you again soon.